Today our discussion will focus on the use of efficient high press tactic and how to coach it to your team. Before coaching high pressing, you need to know how your players should behave when executing this tactic. So we'll define the following high pressure principles. The first principle is that the player closest to the ball carrier always applies pressure on him. And the second principle is that all other players cover all potential receivers. While this may sound easy, let's take a closer look at how this should work. Here is the snapshot where Leicester City needs to press Arsenal. Our first principle postulates that the player closest to the opponent with the ball needs to press him. Here it's very easy, and the closest player rushes towards the ball carrier by applying pressure on him. Our second principle postulates that all other players need to cover all potential receivers. This, however, is very general, and we should provide players with more detailed instructions on how to do this. While these two constitute our main principles, for our second principle we can provide a sub-principle, which states that every player should cover the farthest potential receiver he is closer to than his teammates. So here every single player asks himself, to whom am I closer than my teammates? In this case, our striker is closer to the opponent's center-back and goalkeeper, who are both the potential receivers. But who is farther away from our striker? The opponent's goalkeeper is farther away, so our striker chooses the goalkeeper as his primary target for pressing. Similarly, other players cover all other potential receivers. Let's have a look at a real game scenario. Here our closest player applies pressure on the ball carrier, which is correct. Our second striker applies pressure on the center-back, who is the farthest potential receiver. Please note that the goalkeeper isn't a potential receiver, as the center-back blocks the passing lane, making it unlikely for the ball to be passed to the goalkeeper. Now the new situation arises and the closest player attacks the ball carrier. But now the goalkeeper becomes a potential receiver, and our third striker should anticipate it and move closer to him. However, he doesn't, making this not an ideal pressing example, even so we managed to win the ball back. Please note that this is very simple yet well thought out and flexible pressing tactic. Important is that every player knows what to do in a given moment and all players apply the pressure simultaneously. Of course, you can add more conditions to this tactic. However, be aware that additional conditions add more complexity to the explanation and coaching, and they are not necessarily advantages. Okay, let's now take a look at the high press coaching drill and how we can coach it to our players. Here we have the following setup as shown in the figure. The blue team in a 3-5-2 formation plays against the red team, which is in a 4-3-2 formation plus a goalkeeper. The Reds try to build up and score on one of the three mini-goals, while the blue team aims to press and score on the large goal. The coach distributes the balls to the red team and instructs the blues to start pressing. He ensures that the blue team properly executes our established pressing tactic, which implies that the player closest to the ball carrier always applies pressure on him, while all other players cover all potential receivers. The coach can begin by distributing the balls to different positions within the red team, ensuring that the blue team executes the pressing correctly regardless of the circumstances. Okay, that's it for today. Hope this video was helpful and gave you some tips about how to coach your team with an aggressive high pressure tactic. Share your thoughts. How do you coach high press to your players?